The houseboat that Harry had secured for us for a while belonged to an artist who was away in California for the winter. Half of the long vessel was portioned off with easels and paints, and the big splashy sink, and Harry had slyly informed me that the blank canvases and paints were up for grabs. I did feel the temptation, though I was hesitant to express my gratitude too enthusiastically should Harry come to expect anything from me. There was a bedroom in the lower cabin where I slept, and above it, an upper, smaller cabin with a ship's wheel and a large bed that took up the entirety where Harry slept, typically with Bunny in attendance. The roof deck was the best thing about it all. Tall planted shrubs gave us some privacy, but there was enough visibility to watch the world go by, and at this point we were tired of being on guard. We still hadn't talked about my kiss with Lucy, but Harry hadn't brought it up, and I still didn't know what to say. I do not know what to say about it. Hearing his name had released me from the pressure, from the feeling of being plagued by any of his manipulation magic. But I was not sure what it had truly done. If anything, it may have simply given me the courage to take her face in mine and kiss her. A simple act of lust, of attraction perhaps, but also I think I meant it as a vengeance. I kissed her as long and as well as I could, to instill some kind of doubt into her mind about his place in her life, or her place in his perhaps, and strangely I was okay with this act of manipulation. Whatever he got back at this point was deserved. Much was still unclear about that time, after all. I was not there, but there wasn't much chance he had not been involved somehow in Agatha's death or departure, if you will. Involved in the dissolution of the collective, involved in covering up his tracks at least, which was one definition of culpability, or at the very least of a guilty conscience. When the sun came out, Harry surprised me by trying to tan without any shirt on, laying out on the deck for hours on end. I had to admit I had not seen him so casually in this state of undress before. He was still intimidatingly strong, and the many scars on his body told gruesome tales. The horror and yet the vulnerability of him laying there was an interesting artistic contrast. I wanted to draw him but felt too shy to ask. Instead, I doodled some sketches of Bunny on some scrap paper, hiding them from Harry when I was finished with them. There were increasingly more corvids flying overhead and around, and we were undeniably in agreement that we may have some communication from Leon and Balkas soon. But who knows what soon means anymore. There was a piano too, and although hesitant at first, Harry got around to tinkering away on it. When he wasn't paying attention, I did some sketches of him playing, with Bunny sitting on top of the upright piano case. On a rather warm day, we had the windows open, and after Harry finished a piece, there was a sudden raucous applause from next to our riverboat. We were both too shy to acknowledge these people, although it excited Bunny, who went up to the deck to see who it was that was clapping. Lucy was in my dreams a little too much for comfort. She was a shark swimming by our riverboat and then asking for permission to come aboard.
You have to invite me. You know that, Meadow.
She would say, somehow in both the form of a person and a shark, clinging to the hull like a barnacle. I do not know what I want to do. Give me time, I said. Eventually, in my dream, she made her way on the boat anyway. Harry was there, sun-tanning and oblivious, pretending he didn't care, but I felt his jealousy perhaps, and Lucy would lay on top of me, motionless and wet like a seal, as I tried to avoid her attention. Sometimes she was the young twin, and I paradoxically allowed her to kiss me, but the rest of the time I was playing hard to get. Take off your wedding band. It has magic in it. I would tell her authoritatively, but that made her fall into sobs and cling to my neck. None of this was very erotic. It was all sad and confusing, and a bit suffocating feeling in my dream. Still, part of me in my dream was nagging at me. During the day, the voices would say, "You love her." "You love her?" the other said as a question. You're confused. How is it different from love? I am just confused, blissfully so. Bliss is confusion, the absence of certainty. Go away. I am in charge now. Thankfully, during the day, I would forget about the dreams, and life was marvelously normal and routine. Walks around the city, coffee at a new shop each day, long days faffing about the houseboat. We looked cautiously around ourselves for signs of being surveilled, but we hadn't seen the man in tweed or anyone else suspicious in over a week. Finally, Harry broke in.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
You mean about it being like before?
Yes.
Yes, I know what you mean, but I think it's different this time. I'm able to think clearly. I don't know about you, but Simon being gone, all signs make me think, I don't know, that it's okay.
Yes, I thought so too. Not that I haven't been thinking about our next moves, but I'm getting more clarity each day, memories flooding back that I hadn't thought of in years. It's been helpful, this time. Precious, even.
I agree, Harry. And by the way, thank you for the art supplies. I think I'm going to use them more.
Good. Well, I'm going to go out there and get some sun.
There is one way that we were like average guys, and that was that constituted a deep and intimate conversation for us. It was almost cliché how uncomfortable we both were with feelings, but it was inescapable. Whether it was our link through Agatha, through Bunny, or simply what we had survived these last few months, that we were somewhat like brothers, although it wasn't clear who was the elder and who the junior. I was the nervous one, sure, and physically inept for most situations, but Harry had that tremulous glimmer in his eye, as if he would crumble by the simplest kindness thrown his way. If anything, I knew that I could probably make him cry by telling him he was a good friend, and that was a power that I relished. At least tenderness was not quite as frightening to me, although it depended on the day. So we stayed there on the houseboat, slowly rocking, like floating on the subtlest of emotions. Each evening, watching the lights turn on, the bicycles float by like phantoms, the laughter of strangers teasing us into believing there was a world out there that was wholly ignorant and unbothered, altogether mortal, but also in a way much more connected to the eternal than we could ever be.